All right. And this is the Translation Lost podcast, of which I almost forgot the name of.
Yeah, because, it doesn't really stick in your head, does it, at all?
Let's just jump right into it.
Okay. Spreading bullshit, whatever the cause. But the translation's been lost.
Wow.
That was pretty good. You changed chords at the right time and everything.
It was the wrong chord, though.
but you got the timing right, and that's the whole idea of this, is that it's supposed to be a little shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely living up to that. It's a 4-chord song, and I cannot for the life of me remember all 4 chords at once. And I can remember like other 4-chord songs. I think my brain knows that this is supposed to be shit.
It's a 4-chord song that is like literally 1 bar. It's like it's literally just it's like 2 lines of a song, and you can't get it.
So this is the Translation Lost podcast, where we watch movies with we watch movies in different languages with no subtitles, because
watching movies with no subtitles wouldn't be that impressive. Like I do that all the time.
Yeah, I did that the other day. Would you believe?
Yeah. No.
And the problem with that is that turns out it's actually a lot harder to follow a movie than you would expect.
Yeah.
And but we're gonna troop on because we've got nothing better to do.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun.
This one was fun for me. It wasn't fun for you.
No, I had a weird time. I had a really weird time.
So
yeah.
How was your week, Dara?
Yeah, it was good. Good. I went to see The Killers on Thursday night.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's
I got 2 free tickets from Amanda's auntie. Just gave us 2 free tickets.
That's even better when it's free.
Savage. Yeah. Man, The Killers have got some good songs. So yeah, that was cool. That was fun. Other than that, like I was just doing college stuff.
Yeah,
going on college stuff.
It's getting up to Christmas now, so lots of assignments start getting piled on top of each other.
Yeah. I've got exams at Christmas time as well. So
I'm really lucky I don't have exams. I have exams at the end of the year, though.
Yeah, exams are the worst. It's just like a week and a half of stress, maybe 2 if you're really unlucky.
I feel like the lights should be lighting up on the monitor a bit more, but
it doesn't matter. But actually, while we're on that, because I didn't notice this, because you set everything up. Like you're the one. You're the technical guy.
I'm absolutely not. But
you're the one who handles the technical stuff. Whether you are better equipped than I is still up for debate. But you're the one who handles it all. And while we were we had a little bit of trouble starting because there was just some weird noise in the background and stuff when we were trying to record. And while we were trying to fix it, I realized that my mic is plugged into the first channel. So why the low self-esteem, Brian? You don't think you're number one? You don't think you're number one? This is your equipment. We're in your house.
Dara, I've always seen you as an older brother. And that's why I thought, I'll put him in. And I know you've got low self-esteem, so I put you in number 1 so you'd feel better.
Me up.
No, really, it's because the wires are really long and they're all tangled up, and I don't know which mic is which.
Oh shit! You're dropping the guitar. Okay, I'm gonna take this thing out, right?
Your thing. You brought a thing this week.
So last week I didn't even post a thing to the Twitter because that was my bad. I forgot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that was also not really much of a thing.
No.
I'll still post it or whatever.
Yeah, we'll post 2. We'll give you a double.
But this one, I was like, okay, I actually better take it seriously this time because I forgot last time. And it's been a real fucking pain in my ass.
We looked very unprofessional last week, Darren.
Yeah.
Very unprofessional.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Not the reputation we keep.
So this week I brought this thing, right? And I just want to say it's quite big and it's been taking up a lot of room in my bag.
Moving the drink so it doesn't spill anywhere.
Yeah, good shout. There he is. Yeah, isn't he lovely?
He's a little penguin Batman.
He's a
spuddy.
He's a spuddy. So the idea is he's supposed to be like a potato, and you can put your hand through him and lie on your hand and be lying on him.
Good.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right? I
feel like that would be good for the bus.
Yeah. My mother got me him, right? And she got my little brother Harry Robin, like a spuddy Robin.
Oh wow!
But this thing is still attached. So I think she stole them.
Your
the
mom
tag.
Stole that.
Yeah. Same thing happened with a pair of tracksuit bottoms she got me for my birthday one year.
Likes to steal things.
Yeah, she's it's a bit of a kleptomaniac. But yeah, there's Spuddy. He's just gonna chill out there in the mixer. Hopefully he doesn't fuck with any of the settings that we
angle him this way so if he does fall it's not onto any liquids.
Yeah, rum and Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just Coke.
And just Coke. Yeah. Yeah.
Your Coke has sugar in it though. Mine doesn't.
Yeah, you were kind enough to get me like a 1.75
Oh,
liter
wow, I
thing
was
of
so
Coke.
kind. I bought you a €2 bottle of Coke.
So I'm just gonna be plowing through that for the episode. So hopefully that'll keep me hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully this rum keeps me hype. It's only a little bit of rum though. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. So my week was pretty much the same, just assignments, and that's going to bring me on to our next disclaimer, is that the movie this week, because I didn't have a lot of time, so I didn't have time to find a movie with no subtitles, which actually takes like sometimes hours to get a movie with no subtitles.
Not to interrupt, but like, well, I'm interrupting. So to interrupt, because I just mentioned that you take care of like the actual like mixing thing.
Yeah.
And you like, it's your house and stuff. But you all like you take care of everything. Like you're the one who uploads the episode, and it takes like several hours. You pick the movie, you scour through and try to see if you can find the movie. I do nothing. So I would just like to, I don't know how the listeners might feel about this episode being a little bit of a cop out, but I personally am fine with it because I feel like you're putting in enough work already, Brian. You should give yourself some time off.
I'm gonna give myself a round of applause.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, no, the reason I do everything is because this, like, the podcast was originally my idea. I came to you very drunk at a party,
very drunk,
and I was like, Dara, I've got the best idea ever, okay? And you were sober because you don't drink, and surprisingly, you were like, that is actually a good idea.
Yeah, I was super on board. I was really into it.
And the next morning, I woke up and I was like, I don't know if Dara was just humoring me because I was really drunk.
Yeah, but then I was like determined. Like I was having conversations with Amanda, being like, no man, I gotta make sure this isn't one of those things you just say at a party one time and then never do.
Same. And then you messaged me about it like like a couple of hours into that day, and I was like, oh, thank Christ, he actually like thought it was a good idea. So I didn't have time to get a movie, so I basically just had to grab something from my DVD shelf. I'm gonna be upfront.
Which, to be fair, you do have quite an extensive DVD shelf.
Oh, most of them are in the attic.
Oh, really?
I had a bunch of shitty DVDs.
Oh yeah,
I put up in the attic,
and yet you
Those
left
the
Grease down there. Amanda's gonna kill me for saying that.
Excuse me.
Grease is good. I'm sorry, that was a joke.
Excuse
it was a joke.
me. You're
Grease
off
is
the
good.
podcast. You're off the podcast.
I'll just take my spuddy and go.
I'm getting Finn in here right now, and he is just. The podcast is going to devolve into some shit. That's our Finn mention of the week.
Yeah, nice and early. Just knock it out of the way.
I hope everyone checked out his SoundCloud on the last episode.
Did you link that?
Yes,
you did.
I linked it a few days later, though.
Yeah, because he messaged us being like, "You didn't link my SoundCloud."
And I was like, "All right, yeah, that's fair. We did say we'd do that.
Thanks for the free shout out, but where's the link?"
So we keep getting off the movie.
Yeah, sorry.
The movie I picked was Akira, which some people may know. It's a Japanese animated movie that came out in 1988.
You know, it's a pretty big deal because even I've heard of it.
Yeah. You didn't know what movie we were watching until I picked you up today.
Yeah, I had no idea.
You actually saw Akira mentioned today.
Yeah.
Before that.
Yeah,
which is
earlier
really
on
weird.
in a YouTube video I was watching, while like trying to pass time in the most boring job alive. I love my job. Anyway, go on.
You do. So yeah, I picked Akira because it's a movie I really like, and I've seen it a few times, but not recently. And Dara has never seen it and didn't know what it was about even. He just knew it had cool art.
I still don't know what it's about.
Yeah. So, but we watched it without subtitles. So I rewatched it without subtitles. So I'm foggy on details.
Yeah, and we were kind of thinking that like it'd be cool to occasionally do it in a way that like one of us has seen it and the other hasn't, and to watch it like dubbed over with something else and see how opinions on it might differ between someone who knows what's going on and someone who doesn't, because that could just add a bit of dynamic instead of just fucking 50 episodes of us sitting here going, I don't know, do you know?
No,
I have no idea.
No one
know
knows
what's going on at all. Yeah.
So, and that actually made me think of another idea we could do, or maybe you do a animated Batman movie and we'll watch it in French or something. Or
yeah, you mentioned it to me like in passing earlier on, and I've already had like 5 ideas.
Good, as long as it's one I haven't seen, which is most of them.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of animated
of
Batman films. Yeah, there's some really great ones though, and some really shit ones, and I'm trying to decide which to pick.
Oh, I saw Under the Red Hood when I was like 10.
That's a great one. That one's fantastic.
Yeah. That's John DiMaggio as Joker.
So great. Yeah.
Anyway,
Joe DiMaggio?
John. No, it's John DiMaggio.
It's Joe DiMaggio, isn't it?
Is John DiMaggio the baseball player? I don't know.
Do you think I'd know a baseball player's name? Why are you... Okay, let's move on.
So that baseball uniform.
It's Joe
I saw you in,
DiMaggio.
it's
I'm nearly
Joe.
certain. I'm nearly certain it's Joe.
Yeah, okay, it's probably Joe.
Yeah, we'll Google it afterwards.
So, we watched Akira,
Mm.
and I'm going to turn the formula on its head a bit here. Dara, what did you think this movie was about?
Oh my god. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I had no idea. Like, the video I watched earlier today was like, cartoons that predicted the future. And it just mentioned that Tokyo will have the Olympics in 2020, and that Tokyo is going to have the Olympics in this film.
Yeah, the film is set in 2019 before the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah, so that's the only bit of context I got from that film. And that is not a plot element at all. That's just a passing joke, really.
It's a set. It shows up.
Yeah, I guess,
the stadium is a big part of it.
Yeah, right. So basically, as far as I could tell, right? So the movie starts out, there's like... Okay, first of all, right, we watched a Japanese film already for this, which was Crow Zero, right? The Japanese fucking love two things, right? No, they love three things more than anything else in the world. They love cigarettes, they love rioting, and they love motorcycles. That's what I've learned.
Kids.
And delinquent kids. Yeah. That's what I've learned about Japan from doing this podcast so far. So there's like this group of youngsters, right? And they're like, they just love riding their motorcycles and beating up punks and knocking their heads off with steel pipes while they drive unreasonably fast past them.
That man died.
Yeah, he was dead. He was gone. Like, loads of people died.
I think that was a hammer too. That wasn't just a steel pipe.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and then one of them... Tetsuo.
You did it.
Thank you very much.
Dara's terrible at Japanese names.
Well, it's really hard to pick up when they're saying them really fast.
I think it's just because I grew up watching like anime and stuff. That,
it kind of sinks
just
in.
Kind
of,
you get it after a while.
Yeah. You get the way that they would pronounce vowels or whatever. Like,
but you still do terrible Japanese accents.
Yeah.
That I won't do now because we'll get in trouble.
Yeah, no, we made a rule. None of that on the podcast. So Tetsuo. Basically, a bunch of shit happens at the start that's not really that integral to the plot, but there's a guy... Okay, first of all, I can't say that for sure. I don't know what the plot is, Dara. Okay? But look, basically, there's this weird little blue kid...
He's all wrinkly.
He's all wrinkly like an old man, but he's very
ball.
clearly a child.
Yeah.
They make it very obvious that he's a child, right? And he's clearly got some crazy like psychic powers or whatever. And then he's like standing there, and Tetsuo crashes into him on his motorcycle and gains these crazy telepathic powers. Which at first I was like, oh, he's telepathic. No, he's just God. Like they're gods. Like it's not telepathy. They are gods. They can do anything. There's no limit to it whatsoever.
Is there?
It doesn't seem like there is.
They just seem to have like really strong psychic abilities.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, then he gets taken to some hospital and he's like being experimented on, and in that hospital he was taken there by this general dude who seems to be over the little blue old man kid.
General Cheekbones.
General Cheekbones, yeah, we'll refer to him as that from now on, because he was a very tall, very broad man, you know, very muscular, but still had these incredibly defined cheekbones.
He had the face of a baby.
Yeah,
he had the face of a baby.
Yeah, and this weird little haircut that I was looking at that and I was like, if that was like a real life haircut, he would look fucking terrible. But then, what's it called? So, he's in this hospital being experimented on. There's two other little blue old men babies. One of them's a girl though, and they're not babies. They're like kids. They're like toddlers. And they're all like psychic. And one of them sits in a chair all the time and like hovers, and he's weird. And the other one is this little girl who's like constantly curled up in bed, and she's weird. And then, while this is going on, he's in this hospital. His friend Canada. Right, shout out to my dorm mate who's from Canada. He actually listens to this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, on. There's so like Canada is trying to. He's not okay. I don't know what was going on there, but he ends up in this hospital with Tetsuo.
Yes. Tetsuo.
And also their lady friend who looks exactly like Canada, and that really pisses me off. But I'll get to that later. So the girl and Canada are there, and they like. Essentially essentially Tetsuo like loses control of his powers or gains control of them and just fucks everything up and then like flies away. And then the film just becomes about him messing shit up. And then it seems as though he's trying to awaken Akira, who is like
spoilers for the movie.
Full
yeah,
spoilers
obviously.
for this, because this
spoilers.
This is an actual movie I think people might want to see.
Oh, definitely. If you have not seen Akira, go watch it right now, and then come back to this podcast and watch this podcast twice, and like it, and then make some more accounts and like it with those accounts too, please.
Yeah, because it'd be scummy if we did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If Dara did that every night, that would be scummy. But yeah, full spoilers. Should have said that earlier. Apologies.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, up until then, it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then he's like trying to awaken Akira, which, as far as I can tell, Akira is just several pieces of a brain in several different jars, right? So Tetsuo was like trying to awaken Akira, and General Cheekbones is all, no, he mustn't awaken Akira, right? And then the three little blue, wrinkly old kids are like, no, don't awaken Akira, or something like, oh my god, he's getting too powerful, or something. And then they decide to awaken Akira, right? And then Akira just destroys everything, including Tetsuo. And Tetsuo was the first thing Akira destroyed. And I'm like, why did you want to awaken Akira?
You're forgetting the bit where I saw your mind explode.
Oh, don't even get me started on that fucking thing. So there's a scene where he's in the hospital.
Oh, there's that. I was thinking of later on.
Which one? Oh, no, that was the worst thing in the world. Okay, I'll explain them both, right?
Yeah, start with the hospital.
These are the two things that really messed me up. And for anyone who's like seen this with with English dubbing, that they're going to be like, haha, but that was crazy to see with no subtitles.
Yeah,
it was. It really was.
Dara was like, Dara looked really uncomfortable.
Oh man, I was having a hard time.
It was great.
The first one is when Tetsuo is still in the hospital, and the kid, he wakes up, and there's this like teddy bear beside him, and he throws the teddy bear to the opposite side of the room, right? And then he rolls over and like goes to go back asleep, and then he like opens his eyes, and a little teeny tiny version of that teddy bear is like climbing up the bed towards him. And it's being followed by a little toy car and a little toy bunny rabbit that are also real teeny tiny.
Pretty cute too. Like,
they're quite adorable. And
except for the car.
The car creeped me out from the start.
Yeah.
And then he goes to like splatter them, and then he opens his hand and they're gone. And he's like, oh, that was weird. And then he turns around, and all of the toys on the floor, and there are a lot of them. I don't know why they're in this hospital. But all
it's the hospital where they keep the kids.
Oh right, yeah. Okay, fair enough. But all the toys that were on this floor like form into a giant version of that teddy bear, and a giant version of that creepy ass car, and a giant version of that bunny, right? And then like the teddy bear like reaches its arm out, and it's like a lizard. Its arm is like a lizard with its mouth open, and then everything gets crazy, and then he
all start leaking milk.
They all start leaking milk, and then suddenly Tetsuo is like walking through milk, and Tetsuo's like, milk? And he says milk, and I'm like, yeah, I get you. I totally see why you're confused. And then they all explode, and it turns out it was the three weird little kids.
I mean, to be fair on the milk thing, he's got to say milk, because when something starts leaking white liquid, you got to differentiate.
Yeah, you got to clarify for all audiences. Yeah. And then, at the end, the other thing that Brian was referring to that destroyed me. Like this one really fucked with me.
I just watched Dara slowly sink into his chair as it happened, and every so often I just hear, "Oh no!"
So basically, Tetsuo gets his arm chopped off, because basically Tetsuo just like marches into like Tokyo and just Neo Tokyo, and starts fucking everything up. And he's just destroying everything for no reason. And then he loses his arm, right? And he uses his like new crazy whatever the fuck these are powers to build a new one out of like machinery. And then he like sits on this throne, and then the arm starts like spreading out onto the arm of the chair.
Yeah.
And he's clearly in pain, and he can't pull the arm away, but it just keeps expanding and growing, and like more wires are developing, and then suddenly his flesh starts expanding as well. And he just turns into this like massive ball, these bubbles of flesh, and like his head is like like disproportionate to the size of the rest of him, and he's screaming in pain, and every new bit of flesh that emerges grows fingers and toes that eventually just turn into like a tidal wave of more flesh, and then that flesh grows more fingers and toes, and it's awful.
Giant baby. He's a giant baby.
That's what he is. That's what it was. He's a giant baby. It's fucked up. I hate it. I hated it. And then they awaken Akira, and then Akira destroys him.
Yes.
Kind
I
of,
will be going
maybe?
over my own explanation at the end to Dara when we're done. Interesting thing though, you turned to me at one point in the movie, and it was when Tetsuo was in the street, and he emerges from the fire, and the sick music plays, and you're like, his hair grew really long. And I was like, that actually, I had never thought about that before, but his hair does grow really quickly. And I think that's like foreshadowing the rest of him growing really quickly.
Okay. See, I thought that was, I saw that, but I suppose you've watched it a couple times, so you have more of an opportunity to glean meaning or whatever. To me, I was just like, that's just the animators being like, well, we want him to look cooler now.
Could be that too.
And like more intimidating.
This is purely my own headcanon.
No. He did look cooler. He did definitely look cooler. Tetsuo was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, Tetsuo was cool.
Despite all of the terrible things that happened to him, I really enjoyed him, and I really enjoyed when he went into Tokyo and just started fucking everything up.
And he gets the sick cape and his theme.
Yeah.
With the choir coming in.
The whole thing. There's like what's the word? I know the word. It starts with an M, I think. It's Michael. No, that's the one. There's this guy called Michael. No, a motif.
Yes.
There's a motif of like the it's like this weird like percussion beat, but it's all done with like people breathing.
Yeah.
So it's like like stuff like that, and it's crazy intense, and and as soon as that starts, I'm like, oh no. Something's about to ruin my fucking evening.
The soundtrack has like a permanent spot on my I'm doing work playlist. I need something in the background. It's basically all percussion and bells and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
But like when he goes into Neo Tokyo. And he starts like, see, what was weird about it was that I didn't understand his motivation. I didn't get why he was so angry. I didn't get why he wanted to destroy and kill everyone. I didn't get why he wanted to awaken Akira. So all of that stuff was like just really frustrating for me to try and comprehend. But then when it got to the point where he was just attacking everyone, I was able to switch off that part of my brain and just go, this is so cool. And this like satellite from the sky is like shooting a laser at him, and then he flies up and he destroys it. Like it's cool. Like that kind of stuff is cool. And like you told me before we watched it, how it's all hand drawn.
Yes, this movie came out in 1988,
and that's really impressive. That's really, really impressive because it does look fantastic. There's no denying that. Like,
it's like visually stunning.
Although I would definitely. I mentioned earlier I was gonna come back and complain about this. I definitely had a problem with the fact that Canada and that girl.
Yes.
All that differentiated them was she had like, you know, tits because she was like a woman. Yeah. Right? So like there was that, like the bodies were different. Yeah. But in terms of their faces, all that differentiated them was like she had eyelashes. That was it. And there's like a significant portion of this film when the two of them are wearing the same outfit, and it's this baggy orange thing. And so the body is gone. And sometimes their hair is in the way of whether or not they have eyelashes. So I was just sitting there. I had no idea a lot of the time which of them was doing what.
The thing is, it's the original manga was drawn by a guy called Katsuhiro Otomo. Okay. And in my own opinion, and I might get lynched for this, he does kind of fall into a bit of same face every now and again, where it's like everyone has the same face. But I think he does a pretty good job of differentiating. There was the Colonel and then two other guys with mustaches that once they started putting hats on them, it was like impossible because they were all like the same height. And
there was a group of three dudes who first of all, I have no idea what the fuck they were about and what their relationship to that girl was.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at all. They were not in it very long, so it didn't matter that I didn't understand that really in the grand scheme of things. But what did bother me was that 3 of the men, I think, it might have just been 2, but I'm pretty sure 3 of the men in that group all had the same mustache as each other and as Colonel Cheekbones.
Yes.
And so I was just really...
reasonably the same.
And I was just really confused because it was transitioning from like scenes of Colonel Cheekbones back to scenes with them. And I was like, when did Colonel Cheekbones start hanging out with Canada and the girl?
Yeah,
What's going on? And I was getting real lost by this kind of everyone looks, you know, a little the same. Not so much. And you know what I noticed as well, what I thought was weird is that like background characters that didn't matter so much, they were much easier to differentiate. The guy who owned the bar that gets murdered quite close to the start, very distinctive looking dude. He was in the first scene, and then a couple scenes, like a while goes by, like maybe like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he came back into it, and I was like, oh, it's the dude from the bar. It's the bartender.
Yeah, you immediately recognize
I immediately recognized that.
Do you think
guy.
the bar, though, has anything to do with that, too?
I don't think so, because because Tetsuo was like walking down the stairs to this bar, and there's like a door, and it's like adults only or whatever, and I was like, oh, what's this? And I was kind of confused, and then he opened the door, and the first thing you see is that dude, and I was like, he's at the bar.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know, I feel like I just thought it was a really weird choice to make the main characters look so similar to each other.
It is, though, nice to watch a Japanese animated movie where they don't all have big eyes and colorful hair and stuff.
Yeah, and it's not like weird and over sexualized or anything. Everyone's wearing like just quite cool clothing. There was one scene that I had a big problem with. I just thought was totally just unnecessary. But
yeah.
So I'll describe it, but I don't want to linger on it because it honestly just made me upset. It was basically Tetsuo is hanging out with this girl.
This is after he gets out of the hospital.
After he breaks out of the hospital, and he's hanging out with this girl, and then a bunch of dudes come up, and they like knock him over, and then they like back her against the wall, and one of them just tears her top off. Yeah. And it's just animated tits, and it's real weird because the character is drawn to look really young, and I assume that she was, because it's like these are supposed to be like kids in school, and it just did not sit well with me at all. And then obviously Tetsuo beats the absolute living shit out of these guys, and it doesn't go any further than that, but I just felt like it was really unnecessary.
There's like I could be wrong on this because it's been a while since I've looked at the differences between the book and the movie. But the movie only accounts for about half of the book. And what happens in the book, which spoilers for the book, of course, it's also good.
Spoilers for all of it.
It's all really good. Go look at it. When Akira comes back, he doesn't blow everything up. He remains around, and him and Tetsuo have a kind of war.
Okay,
that's the second half.
That's what I was excited for.
But I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, that girl becomes like part of his harem of women.
His what?
His harem of women.
What's a harem of women?
It's like when you have more than one girlfriend. But they're not really girlfriends.
That's shit.
They're just kind of, there
scumbag.
for one purpose. But I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong on that.
I hope you are.
This is my memory
but it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. But it wouldn't surprise me, but it would disappoint me.
It wouldn't surprise me in terms of that character as well.
Yeah. Because, like, she didn't really serve much of a purpose at all.
But even Tetsuo, I mean, like, I've always thought of Tetsuo as the kid that gets picked on in school who gets the ultimate gun.
Yeah, you see, I kind of thought that maybe that was like an element of play, and then at the end they show like very, very short flashbacks to when he's younger, and to try and establish some kind of relationship between him and Canada. But to me,
the relationship is established through dialogue.
Yeah, of course. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, but like, it's like a flashback to when they were kids, and it shows you like Canada like sticking up for him against the bullies, and him being excluded from people and stuff. And I was like, all right, so whatever, he's like a social outcast, and that's why he did this. But it's the end of the fucking movie. Like, why am I being told this now? I'm after sitting through 2 hours of going, why so angry, Tetsuo? Calm down, it's fine.
Here's a little bit where I'll start maybe giving you a little bit more context here, and you can make what you will of it.
Okay.
The one of the first things I think, and now bear in mind it's been like 2-3 years since I watched this movie. I forgot about the girl. No, I didn't forget about the girl, but I forgot like that she's part of a whole underground team of dudes who seem to be doing stuff.
What was that about?
I think they're trying to rescue the blue people, and one the guy who gets shot up at the start was a part of their group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just in case anyone hasn't seen this, essentially at the start of the movie, one of the blue kids, the creepy little blue old people, is being like led through Tokyo by this man by the hand, and we don't see
chased by amazingly animated dogs.
Yeah. And then he gets shot down, and then they take the blue kid or whatever. After Tetsuo crashes into him, and then but you see, what was confusing for me was that it's just very suddenly Canada and this girl that it's kind of implied he fancies a bit. They're just suddenly hanging out with these like older men, the dudes with the Colonel cheekbones mustache.
He follows her.
Okay, right.
Listens in on their conversation, and they're like, now he knows. Lock him in here to die.
Yeah, and then they go on a mission, breaking into the place where Tetsuo was being held, the hospital or whatever. So I just had no idea what they were doing.
I think they're trying to get to Akira.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
And
right.
that's what I remember, but I'm probably really wrong, and someone's probably yelling at the computer.
That's fine. I welcome that. I crave that.
Please yell at your computers.
Yeah.
Or your phones or wherever you watch this.
Off.
You can listen to it anywhere.
Yeah.
Listen to it on the
bus.
If
you've got an internet connection.
With a loudspeaker on, and tell everyone to go listen to it.
Yeah. Every person you see even slightly chuckle. You in the back.
You
Translation Lost, it's called.
Yeah.
Google it.
That guy's going to be like, wow, they heard me. That guy, as if someone's going to listen to it on the bus with their speakers on 30 minutes in. So, a bit of context for you were talking about Canada and Tetsuo don't seem to have any, there's no
relationship or chemistry.
There's tons at the start.
Right.
When Canada walks out and Tetsuo is on his bike, Canada's like, you can't drive that. And he proves that later on when it breaks down. That's when the scene that you love so much happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, Tetsuo has always been second to Canada. And then he gets crazy mind power. So he's like, fuck you, I'm number one now.
Okay, fair enough.
And blows up
Okay.
everything.
See, that makes a little more sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking from the perspective of someone watching it without the dubbing, it didn't make any sense. But of course it didn't, because dialogue is a very important aspect of filmmaking, and that's why they don't make silent movies anymore.
Yeah.
Except, what was it, The Artist? Is that what that was called? That came out recently?
The Artist. That actually, this is a bit of a segue.
That should have just been called The Dog.
There is a great scene in The Artist. It's a good movie where he has like a mental breakdown at one point.
Right.
And he's like brushing his teeth, and he puts down a glass, and it makes a noise. And he's like, what the fuck? And he like picks it up and puts it down again and makes a noise. And he starts hearing shit, and he's freaking out.
That's really cool.
It's so good. It's so well done.
Question about that film. Does it have like title cards that tell you what they're saying? Like that type of silent movie?
I don't think so. I think
or is it all just
a silent
there's
movie,
nothing?
But I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that
came out like 5 years ago.
Yeah. Won an Oscar though. Of course it did.
Yeah. Of course it did. Hollywood love old Hollywood.
Hollywood love wanking over Hollywood.
Fuck Hollywood. So anyway.
I should have phrased that better.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on.
Very swiftly onwards. So where were we? We were talking
about you were giving me a little more, yeah, the lack of relationship for me anyway.
Yeah. That's definitely better. It's almost as if discussing movies without any dialogue is a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
almost like we've made a mistake, but fuck it.
But we definitely haven't. We got like 30 listens on our last episode. You think this is a
mistake?
Did
we? I thought we got because I had to re-upload it.
Oh yeah? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you fucked everything up.
Yeah.
We got like 30, and then we got
18, I think.
18 or something like so that. Whatever.
But we got like 50 on our other one.
Yeah. So
SoundCloud brought that up to like nearly 100, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But
See all those 50 people that just fell right off.
But then we
Didn't
said,
give a
bye
shit.
bye, SoundCloud.
Yeah.
That's because our first episode sucked. Everyone listened to our first episode and they were like, it's only coming out on one speaker. This is shit. And now I don't want to re-upload it because it will be 2, 3, and then 1. And that just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. We've waited too long at this point. It's done.
I kept meaning to do it, but I kept being like, I could do that, but I also have schoolwork.
Yeah.
And I want to get a job at some point.
Yeah, and you know, also having time off to yourself is nice where you don't have to sit through like a 16-hour upload.
No, you don't really have to sit through it. I put it on in the background.
Right.
I'll keep an eye on it unless I need to sleep. Like I have class the next day and I need to sleep to get up.
Yeah.
But I'll just keep it on, and it doesn't affect downloads, so I
Right.
can still watch movies and play video games and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
And I do.
Nice.
Too much. I should probably do more schoolwork.
Right. Okay. So, right. I want to. I feel like you've done a bit. Okay, you've done a bit of explaining.
Yeah.
There's one.
You're actually pretty on point. So with your like breakdown of the movie.
Really, that's terrifying.
But you've only really described what visually happened. On
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. Like what the sequence of events was.
But there's some you
obviously I'm assuming there's some substance. Like
I am assuming so too. It's been a long time.
Do you know what we haven't mentioned?
What?
Right. This is a question for you now because
yeah.
this like there were some things in it that I was like what, and then eventually I was like oh okay I kind of get that now. Right. This is one thing I still have no idea what it was about. Right. So there's like Colonel Cheekbones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And working for Colonel Cheekbones, helping him mind these kids or whatever,
Yes,
is
yes.
like this like old creepy looking Albert Einstein dude, right? And you were telling me before that Albert Einstein is like a villainous.
Yeah, kind of.
Guy.
He's the basis for a lot of villains
Yeah.
because of the nuclear bombs
And that's
stuff like
it's
that.
crazy that never occurred to me that would be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. But so this scientist like spends a significant portion of the film looking at
Yes, I knew
this
you were going to bring this up.
spinning rainbowy thing.
Yeah.
What was that?
If memory serves me correct, I'm pretty sure it's like Tetsuo's brain waves or brain patterns
Okay.
or whatever energy he's outputting.
Okay.
And that's why at the end it gets so
It gets
fucking
crazy and like
crazy.
foggy and it
Turns into a baby.
Yeah. But like the whole thing, like he kept going back to it and it was like making noise. It was like making music and it was moving in time to the music it was making. I was just so confused by it. And he kept bringing Colonel Cheekbones over to being like, "Sir, look at the spinning rainbow thing." And Colonel Cheekbones like, "My God." And I was sitting there like, what is going on? What are you looking at? Like, I had no idea.
I like to think when I was rewatching it with no sound and my own like little brain cannon that they didn't know what it was either. And he just kept calling them over and be like, "Look at this shit." It's like something's gone crazy.
Did you bring it? Ask Ed. Ed.
It's
Ed.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Who brought this thing? Yeah. It was that was just bizarre.
That's the pills they were taking. It was ecstasy, and they were just looking at.
Of course, and
they were looking at the thing going. They were like, "Man, that's so fucking rad."
Yeah. There's like, and then also there was this whole like subplot, right? There was this other Albert Einstein looking dude, but his distinguishing feature was he had big racist teeth.
Yes,
right.
His big racist teeth.
He had big racist
like
teeth.
A rabbit man.
Yeah, and there was a scene where they're all like sitting around a board table, and Colonel Cheekbones is there, and there's a bunch of like sweaty, disgruntled-looking Japanese men, and they're like all shouting and arguing, and they've all got this paper everywhere. They're clearly planning. One of them, I took mental note of this. One of them had a calculator. I don't know what he was doing there. Probably just writing boobs.
Maybe the animators were like, "We need to make this look like they're doing something. Throw in some calculators and papers.
How do we make it look more intellectual?"
Yeah.
And then this dude.
J. Jonah Jameson was there.
Yeah,
too.
J. Jonah Jameson was there. Yes,
that's hard to
screaming
say.
about
J. Jonah Jameson,
isn't it? Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson.
He was there. Asking about Spider-Man.
Presumably,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna do a real racist accent there.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Wasn't gonna try. But then and one of the people at this meeting is that old dude with the big teeth, right?
Yeah.
And then he leaves the meeting. And Colonel Cheekbones is all so, and he's like angry and he walks off. And then later on, the dude with the big teeth is like someone's coming to kill him, and it's the dudes that your one was with, and the Canada ended up with, the guys who had the mustaches similar to Colonel Cheekbones.
Yeah.
And then your man, the dude with the big teeth, started like throwing a bunch of like documents and pieces of paper and what looked like money into a suitcase, and then he was like running away with this suitcase trying to get away, and then he like put a bunch of pills in his mouth, and then he got shot to death, and that was it. And I had no idea what that was about either. Like I was clueless. That whole thing went right over my head.
All right, Dara. So here's the thing. It's been 2 years since I watched that movie, and a man turns into a giant, meaty baby, and shit gets nuked. So you're like, what's the deal with that one guy who shows up for 2 scenes and then dies unceremoniously? I have no fucking idea. I can't remember. I think he's like a mayor or something, or
some kind of said that
councilman thing. I cannot remember for the life of me.
That was bizarre. That was bizarre. I feel like the fact
I have to go back and watch it.
I feel like the fact that whole subplot had so little impact on us. Obviously, we didn't know what was going on. It
definitely had more impact than we know.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like...
because I would have probably remembered it.
Yeah, exactly, right? I feel like that it was a little unnecessary. But, you know, who am I to really say, having not seen...
I think you're a pretty good authority. You're good at... Do you speak Japanese fluently?
You weren't supposed to out me on the podcast, man. You're supposed to make people think I don't.
Now everyone knows that we know.
Yeah.
Well, Dara knew what was going on.
Taught you of Ryan. See, that's Japanese right there. I'm speaking.
No one will know the difference. Oh, don't do that. You're making me remember the leave insert, and it's making me sad.
Yeah, so that was just ridiculous. I didn't like that.
But if I did well in my leave insert, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. So
that's true. Yeah,
I'd probably be working a real job.
Yeah. Have you noticed that every time we do this podcast, I at some point end up sitting the way I normally sit? I always start sitting like a normal person, and then I kind of curl up into a weird little ball. Yeah. And what I want to know is, because I've never listened to the podcast the full way through, like, can you hear that awkward adjustment period?
I'm worried that people hear me, because I used Diet Coke in my thing, and it was very fizzy. I'm worried that people heard me like backing away to burp every now and again, because I'm just like, oh fuck, here's another one.
I was wondering what you were doing.
Yeah, that's what that is. I remember listening back, and everyone could hear us vaping on the second episode, and I realized we never brought it up. So every so often you just hear like,
while the other person is just going, do you know what I mean? And then
oh, that's great. I haven't vaped in so long. Yeah, so
yeah,
Akira,
man. Yeah, it was a wild ride.
Oh, these chairs suck too. That's what I was gonna say first.
You know, I was gonna say something about this, because I've been thinking that, you know, one of the things about
we're getting off topic.
I know we're very off topic, and I apologize.
But fuck it, I like going off topic.
Yeah,
so
right.
We're just gonna keep going.
Yeah, it's half the fun of podcasting. It's the loose structure.
Let's drive through this field and see what tree we hit.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, one of the joys of podcasting should surely be the fact that we don't have to do it in like a studio or whatever, because obviously no one can see us right now, but we're sitting at like a very small table, a garden table
that I carried upstairs,
that you carried upstairs. Yeah. We're sitting like, and we're on like 2 like rickety old wooden chairs,
we can take a picture of the set.
Yeah, and we are quite close to each other. Yeah. And I feel like it might help us actually speak more casually if we weren't this close, because I'm never this close to you when I'm talking to you. Like, never ever have I ever been like, what's the
when we were talking about the podcast first, when I first brought it up to you, we definitely were, because I was drunk.
You were drunk, and it was
Dara,
loud.
Come here.
Yeah, but that's fair.
That's the only time we've ever talked in that. It's always been about this podcast. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know, one of these days, I don't know, man, we should just kind of lounge, you know.
It's going to be great once the summer comes, because we can open these curtains and
that would be really pretty.
Look out at the sunset while we're talking. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, new friendships will be made.
Yeah, we'll just be watching.
Me and Dara will finally become friends.
Yeah. After all this time as bitter rivals.
I actually think it's because we were friends. We've been friends for years, but we hadn't talked very much.
Yeah. I was friends with you the same way I was friends with Keith.
And you were up in college, and you were in Dublin, and I'm in Carlow.
Yeah.
And we just never had the opportunity to talk or see each other very good, and I think that actually works better for a podcast.
Because we've stuff to say then. You know? And also, like, when I come back to Carlo, we were way off topic.
We're way off topic.
But when I do come back to Carlo, like, you live in Ballin, so it's not like Finn lives in Carlo. Like, he lives like walking distance from wherever I'm likely to end up being. You live in Ballin, like it's like a half-hour drive.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Which is that's.
And I don't drive. You know, I live in Dublin for the most part.
This is the third episode in a row where we've talked about how remote my location is.
Yeah.
I'm out in the woods. No one's gonna find me.
It's because I cannot get over it.
But you're super remote.
I'm super remote, but the house I technically live in, like, that is my. It's not my house, but it's my parents' house is very remote. Yeah. But I find Ballin bizarre because it's super remote, but it's also super populated, and that combination.
It's a whole village, like.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but it's a village that is primarily houses. There's so little places to shop or like things to
shops.
do. Yeah, and there's loads of houses.
There's
I just
3
think
shops
it's crazy.
and a fucking amazing butcher.
Yeah, it's just people. There's just someone just plonked an estate out here for no reason, and then
because the land was going.
Was,
everyone was like, "Oh, we're never gonna run out of money. I'm gonna live forever."
Those Celtic Tiger days. My sister got a horse for a junior cert.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, you know, I got it for my junior cert. She got 2 horses for her junior cert, right? Because she got a horse for her junior cert, and then 2 weeks later, that horse ate something in our field that it was allergic to, and it died.
Oh my god!
Right, so then they got her a replacement horse for her junior cert, and then they got her like the saddle, and they got her like the riding gear, right? And then for my junior cert, because 4 years had passed, and you know, so had the Celtic Tiger.
Yeah.
So I got €50 in a card. Which is pretty good, you know, for recession times. €50. I'm not complaining, but I am complaining. Where's my horse?
Did you know what I got for my leaving cert?
What?
Mostly D's and E's.
Depressing zinger.
It's the fucking junior cert, man. Who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. We're way off topic, so we should try and get
we've just spent like
back.
10 minutes being off topic. We're going to come right back into the topic.
Yeah, let's... Don't let him fool you. He's gone to refill his drink. He paused it without saying anything, as if it was going to be no big deal, but he's gone to get a drink, and I think he's going to pee as well. He's going to be back up soon, so I'm going to pause it again. Don't let him lie to you.
Okay, we're back. We took a quick break.
Yeah.
Because that was so off topic, we got lost.
Yeah.
And... had to find our way back home.
Yeah, Brian farted before we started recording again.
Yeah, I got another rum too.
Yeah. Okay.
You have a problem, not me.
Right. So, okay, back to Akira. What else you really have to say about Akira? Because all I have to say is that it confused and frustrated me, and I had an unfortunate time.
Really?
Well, like it's a weird thing that I feel like I probably would have enjoyed it if I understood it. But
I totally get that.
But I still feel like the ending was anticlimactic because I feel like we haven't properly gone into the ending. But what actually happens is, right, the like, what's his name?
Actually happens? What happens in your...
Right, what happens in my head is fucking, what's his name? Tetsuo is like set up all these jars of brain bits, right? These like 5 jars or whatever it is. And he's trying to like bring Akira back, but he can't, right? And then a fight breaks out between him and Canada and the Colonel, and there's just this big thing. And then the 3 weird little blue children kneel in front of it, and they're like clearly focusing all of their psychic energy on getting Akira back. And then Akira emerges, and Akira's just a normal looking kid, right? And he like walks forward. He's a normal looking kid, except for the total lack of a dick. There's no dick on that kid at all. And I'm not saying I wanted. What I would have wanted is for the kid to have been fully clothed, so I wouldn't have realized that he didn't have a dick.
That's true.
That's what I ideally wanted from that, right?
I think maybe just not drawing the penis was an artistic choice as opposed to a...
So basically, he walks forward and he like smiles at all these like weird little blue children being like, well, lads, right? And
What's
then,
the crack, boys?
And then there's like bright white light starts emerging from him, and then it happens fairly slowly, but it destroys Tetsuo, who at this point, let's remember, is like a giant disgusting baby,
made of flesh.
Made of flesh and robot bits and fingers and toes.
He
right?
crushes the girl.
He does.
She
She
dies
she
hard.
splatters. Like there's a bit where Kaneda gets stuck inside of Tetsuo because Tetsuo has grown around him, and Kaneda is like smushed up, and we're looking at him, and he looks up and he sees the girl that Tetsuo
Kaori
is her name.
Yeah.
It's the girl that Tetsuo saved from getting raped earlier in the film, and she is also trapped inside him, and two of his inside bits like grow so close together that she just completely splatters. Her entire body pops in a burst of blood.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It like that every time I watch that movie, that scene is always like really difficult.
Yeah.
It's just so brutal. Like,
it's really grotesque. Like it's hard to watch. Even though it's a cartoon, like it's like oh my god.
Oh, they draw all the disgusting things extremely good and disgusting.
And then the white light keeps expanding, right? And eventually sucks up all of Tetsuo, right?
Yeah.
And so destroys him. But then it just continues expanding.
It's like a nuke.
It's like a nuke. And I get it. A nuke went off at the start and a nuke went off in real life. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened. It does suck.
Didn't happen in Tokyo, though.
It didn't happen in Tokyo. But I just found it really weird that their plan was to bring back Akira so he could destroy everything, but they were trying to stop Tetsuo from bringing back Akira so he'd destroy everything.
Okay.
Right?
What I'm gonna ask is just to gloss over that for a second. I'm gonna go into what I remember of it and what actually happens. I think.
Okay.
This is all very I think because honestly my memory is terrible. So, the very end. I'm talking about, like, the very, very end.
You're right, yeah.
There is a sequence that happens.
Yeah.
What did you make of that at all?
Didn't register with me at all. Didn't know what it was. I had just watched 2 hours of I don't know what's going on, and then this thing happened, and all it was basically like a ball, like a little dot in the center of the screen. It was a white screen and then a little black dot, and then the black dot like got bigger, and then we get like sucked into the black dot, and then there's like just a bunch of like shapes and stuff, and then there's an eyeball and we get like sucked out of the eyeball and we're looking at the eyeball, and then I think we got sucked back in or something. But at this point I was just like, what? Like my head was just melted.
Dara looked like he had just run a marathon. Like legit. He was slouched down in his chair, drooling. He didn't even register when I said that vaping was a shitty fad.
So what was it in your opinion then? What was that?
Well, from what I remember, the nuke at the start I think is World War III.
Okay.
Blows up Tokyo and then they rebuild.
I think we may have forgotten to mention that at the start it starts with a nuke in 1988. A nuke lands and we see that go off for a split second, and then it cuts to 2020.
Yeah, but the nuke might not have been a nuke, it might have been Akira.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah,
no,
that's
wait,
true.
no.
It looked like it might have been Akira.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it looked like it might have been Akira now that you mention it, because when Akira was expanding, it was totally silent, and at the start of the movie, when the bright light was getting closer to us, it was totally silent. And that could have been a creative decision, but it seemed to me, now that you mention it, it seems like that's kind of a...
They don't bring Akira back for good. They bring him back to get rid of Tetsuo by pulling him into another dimension.
So did he pull all of Neo Tokyo into another dimension as well?
Some of it. Yes.
Quite a substantial portion.
No, Neo Tokyo was fine. That was all in the ruins of old Tokyo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was actually that was a really cool setting.
Yeah.
Because you see a massive crater.
There's a really good shot where it's Neo Tokyo all lit up, and then it goes down towards the Olympic Stadium, and it's like a skyline, but it's entirely black and it's all destroyed. You mentioned that shot as well.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
I've been sitting really far away from the mic for the last 2 minutes. Sorry. So yeah, he pulls Tetsuo into another dimension, and this is partially my own what I'm taking from the final
like
scene.
Personal
interpretation, but also I've seen it thrown around a lot, and it's a lot of people are kind of like, this is probably what it is. The weird flashy lights is Tetsuo in that other dimension creating a big bang. And that's why throughout the credits you see all the galaxies and stuff floating outwards and the stars.
So he's creating a new universe essentially.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That is that if that's what it is, that's fucking awesome.
But I don't know. I just feel like I'd been waiting for so long for Akira to show up, and I was expecting some kind of massive final battle, and it was just a big white light expanding, and then nothing.
Yeah, I remember you were like, you kept saying, is that Akira? Is he Akira? Are they Akira? And I was like, I will point out when Akira is on screen.
Remember at some point my theory was that someone else was going to be Akira. Was it Tetsuo?
Yeah, you said Tetsuo was going to become Akira.
Yeah, was going to become Akira because we saw a room that had Akira written above it. Yes. But they didn't open the door.
That was the big circular thing you pulled out of the ground.
Yeah. But for a second I thought that maybe
you thought Tetsuo
maybe they had
Akira.
Been like, Akira will be the name of the next one that comes along, and this is where we'll keep them.
To be fair, going into it with absolutely no context, I think that's a pretty decent.
Thank you.
Like you're in the right mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like that would have been pretty interesting. I would have been like, okay.
I mean, you got the fact that there's technically no Akira down.
Yeah.
There is an Akira, but he's long gone by the time the movie rolls around.
Yeah.
Because the government were like, this guy has crazy psychic powers. Let's just chop him up into little bits and study this.
Yeah.
Because that's what a real government would do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was yeah. I don't know. It seems like a very existential ending or whatever, but
yes.
I don't know. It probably would have resonated with me better if I understood what was going on.
Shit.
But I was just like, considering I'd sat through 2 hours of like being really frustrated, but then the only kind of like bit of the film that I was like totally on board with was when Tetsuo was just wrecking shop.
Yeah, that bit's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
it's
and
always what I think of.
Considering that bit was so cool, I was like, okay, the rest of this film being so confusing will be totally justified if there's a dope ass battle between Akira and Tetsuo at the end, and there just wasn't.
Also, the opening motorcycle segment.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I was also kind of like, yeah, fucking motorcycles.
You're not.
We see that really reminded me of what's it called? Trouble in Tokyo, the Teen Titans thing. Remember, I showed you a clip from it downstairs.
Yes.
In that there's a scene where there's a really cool chase sequence with Robin on the back of a motorbike, and he has to steal this guy's clothes because he's a fugitive on the run. It's a great scene, but it just reminded me of it.
Do you think maybe that they got a little bit of inspiration from Akira in that bit? Do you think maybe
it might be actually kind of possible because the aesthetic is actually pretty similar? So yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
Yes, they're both in Japan.
Well, I was also thinking at the start, because obviously, I'm sorry to everyone listening at home that I obviously bring everything back to Batman, because I'm sure that's really infuriating. But this is a good example of Batman. It reminded me, the aesthetic of the city reminded me a lot of Batman Beyond.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and particularly, it really clicked with me, obviously. Remember there was that clown dude on a motorcycle? And that made me think of the Joker gang in Batman Beyond. Yeah. And suddenly I was looking at the Technicolor city, and I was like, oh man, yeah, it's quite similar.
Do you think maybe this movie is actually incredibly influential, and there's a reason it's
right? It's aesthetically influential.
I thought that, dude. It's aesthetically amazing.
It is aesthetic. No, but see, that's my problem. Is that it's aesthetically amazing in terms of like the settings are exquisite.
All the background art
is amazing.
Incredible.
But then the characters, that's where it falls for me. So that's why I can't say wholeheartedly, oh my god, this movie is so well drawn. It is well drawn.
It definitely is well drawn.
But like, if I were to say, if I said clean, yes, this is a fantastically well designed movie. Is it though? Because there's a little smidgen in, and it's quite an important detail as well, is making your characters, differentiable.
Whatever.
Different looking. I think that's pretty important.
I think it also helps to ground it a little bit too, though, because whenever you watch a fucking anime movie, they're all blue hair and big swords, and like my eyes take up 4/4 of my face.
Yeah.
And like it just doesn't.
Yeah, no, I appreciated that it wasn't like way over the top anime or whatever. But
and I
also
don't hate
felt
the
like...
anime art style. I just think maybe sometimes it's a bit generic.
Yeah, and I understand that, but I also feel like if it was done in a more classically anime art style, I bet you I would have been able to go, oh, there's the dude with that color eyes.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I know who this is. You know,
but also the not having dialogue too.
Yeah,
it makes it really hard because you don't learn people's names as easily because they're not
difficult.
speaking English.
It's really difficult.
Well, not that they're not speaking English, but like they're speaking a different language that you don't understand. So
yeah, so inherently they're not speaking English.
So inherently it's difficult to pick up stuff like names.
Yeah. But anyway, look, I don't know. I feel like have we been talking about this for ages, or am I wrong? I feel like
we're an hour in.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking about it for a good bit.
Yeah. I think it's I don't know. Have you got much more to say about this?
The animation is really good, despite what Dara says. The use of color and lighting.
The shading and stuff, like the shadows, was really cool.
The soundtrack is incredible. It's definitely in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Oh wow.
Easily, yeah.
Fuck.
Someone
at home keep track of how many times he says that about a different movie.
Oh yeah.
Because I bet it's gonna go over 5.
Oh, for sure, for sure. My top 5 movie has like 20 movies in it. So yeah, I think. Okay, so I'll ask you because I'm definitely gonna go and watch it again with subtitles. Actually, probably pretty soon because I want to. Would you rewatch this with subtitles?
Eventually,
not for a while.
Eventually,
you're a bit tired.
I'm a bit worn out by it.
You're weary.
I feel like it did impress me, and I would like to know better what was going on. So I feel like it'd probably be worth revisiting. But I don't know. I definitely need to take a break from Akira, unless Taika Waititi makes that movie, because then I will totally see that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, the director of Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, and like What We Do in the Shadows and For the Wilder People.
Taika Waititi. I'm so sorry. I always butcher his name.
Think of it as Waititi. You know,
I'll take Waititi.
I'll take a Waititi. Yeah.
He also directed. I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok because I don't like superhero movies that much. I'm sorry.
Fine. It's pretty good.
I'm probably gonna watch it though because of him. He did What We Do in the Shadows.
It is very funny. The humor is very him.
What We Do in the Shadows is probably one of my favorite comedy movies of all time.
Would you say it's in your top 5?
Actually, legitimately, yes. It might actually be in my real top 5.
That's 2, everyone.
That movie is fucking incredible. Go watch that too, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, watch What We Do in the Shadows.
You can watch it without subtitles because they all speak English. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was so surprised.
I know.
That I could understand.
We didn't understand
meant.
the concept because this is the only way we've ever watched movies.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just like, maybe we should watch movies and do a podcast about it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, are we moving on?
Yeah. Would you recommend this movie?
I guess.
Yeah, I definitely would.
I'd recommend it.
Go watch it,
especially to someone who's into like art and stuff and who's into animation. And I do have friends like that.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth recommending. Not like this.
If you made it this
definitely
far,
not like this.
If you made it this far and you haven't seen it and you think like, oh well, now I know everything that happens in it.
You don't.
It's still worth it to check it out and watch it.
There's
because
so
it's
much
really
we didn't even touch on because
us describing plot points does not have any atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that movie is dripping with atmosphere.
Because of our lack of chemistry.
Yes, yeah. That movie's dripping with atmosphere and it's incredible. So anyway.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll move on from the movie talk. Oh, Dara's grabbing a guitar. Do I need to grab my mandolin or?
No, it's grand because
because
you won't. Right. So basically, remember last time.
No.
Okay, well.
I was drunk, probably.
Look, I made an absolute ball. I tried to come up with a Bullshit for Brian theme song on the spot.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was real bad. So I gave it some more thought.
Okay.
It's pretty much
write songs.
But these are just jingles. Like it's pretty much the same chord progression as the other one, but it's a bit of fun, right? So here we go. I'm gonna see if I can remember it. Okay. Bullshit for Brian, hair like a lion, a curly-haired lion. Bullshit for Brian, bullshit for Brian. No, I'm not lying. Time for bullshit for Brian.
That was beautiful. And my hair.
It is curly like a curly haired lion.
Doesn't look like. It's not like a mane. It just looks like a lion. Like an entire lion sat down on my head. It's insane.
No, he's basically. It looks like he's wearing a hat of the Sphinx.
Yeah, I use a lot of gel and a lot of like cutting and weird. It's like you know that hedge art. It's like hedge art.
Right. So bullshit for Brian time.
Oh yeah, I didn't need to bring the bullshit this week.
No, you
this
didn't.
Was good.
No. Remember last week I couldn't think of a name for what it would be from you. Amanda was like bullshit from Brian. I was like, oh
yeah,
God, I'm
shit.
done.
That's exactly where I went when you said that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway,
okay.
Can you hear me readjusting my seat?
Yeah, I can.
So right now I'm sitting like an Indian. Everybody, Native American. That's offensive.
Same.
What's it called? So I feel like I'm gonna tell you what the bullshit is, and you're gonna be like, yeah, of course you're talking about that, Dara. Why did I expect anything less from you? But I saw Justice League last night.
Oh, you saw it.
I did see it. Yeah.
I've read quite a bit about it. But
yeah.
I'm not going to go watch it because that costs money. And I don't want to spend money on something that I'm probably not going to like.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted by these films. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like, you see, the what I find about it, right, is that it is a perfectly good team-up superhero movie, right? There's some dodgy parts in it. The villain is very forgettable.
I heard it's just dudes.
Well, like no, there's a villain, and
Okay,
it's
okay.
Steppenwolf. That's not a spoiler. He's in the trailer.
I don't know who Steppenwolf is.
Steppenwolf is Darkseid.
Yeah, he was in a Mortal Kombat game once.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Marvel it was DC versus Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, Darkseid is basically this like ruler from Apocalypse, this like different planet, and he occasionally
a planet called Apocalypse.
Yeah.
That couldn't have ended well. Like that.
Oh, it's all fire and like.
What will we name our planet? Apocalypse.
It's all like hot springs but with lava. That's honestly what Apocalypse looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
And Darkseid's actually awesome. He's like you know how you might know this, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like building up towards Thanos. Right?
Yes.
And his Infinity Gauntlet.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, and basically, the Thanos is kind of a bit of a rip-off of Darkseid. Or I could be totally wrong.
Which came first?
Could be the other way.
Which one came
I'm
first?
pretty sure it's Darkseid, but I cannot be 100% certain. So don't write angry emails. I don't care.
The DC movies came after the Marvel movies, so Darkseid is a rip-off of Thanos.
Oh yeah, of course, because they've only ever written any of these.
It's cool.
characters
Batman seems
as
like
the
an
movies
interesting
came.
character, and I hope he gets more.
Yeah, more popular. Yeah,
more popular and more play later
later
on.
some steam. Yeah.
Maybe they could do some comics about him or something. That'd be pretty cool.
But yeah, so Darkseid's really cool, but you know who's less cool? His uncle Steppenwolf. Right?
Well, Steppenwolf is his actual uncle.
He's his actual uncle.
That's fucking hilarious.
Who's just he's just a general in his army. Is essentially it, right?
Steppenwolf is a much cooler name than Darkseid.
I know, but
seems...
I know. But you see, Darkseid is cool to me because every time I say it, I see how it's spelt in my head. And it's Darkseid.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that makes it better to me. It
is that not Darkseid then?
But no, it's like Darkseid, like Darkseid.
Oh, that's stupid.
But you just say Darkseid because who would say that?
Wow, comics are stupid.
Yeah. Raisha Raz. Anyway,
what's that mean?
Raz Al Ghul.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So what's it called? Basically, Steppenwolf is in the Justice League movie basically because they can't just immediately throw in Darkseid, and I feel like it's good that they didn't just throw in Darkseid because that would have been really annoying because they immediately went for spoiler alert for the whole DC Cinematic Universe. They immediately went for Death of Superman, Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
You know, they immediately they skipped way into the future. So if they just hit us immediately with Darkseid as well, I would have been like, all right, you're showing your hand a little here. Like, this is all you've got, you know? So it makes sense to go with Steppenwolf, and I'm glad they did, but they didn't make him any good, you know? That's the problem. Like, if they could have done something with him, but he was just boring and he was forgettable, and I didn't really care what his motivations for taking over the world were. And like,
I mean, in superhero movies, the motivations usually boil down to because I want to.
yeah. Like, Look, I don't want to yammer on about Justice League for ages because
I want you to. And we're not leaving until you've said everything.
Well, I don't see
can.
because it came out yesterday in Ireland, and
Yes.
so I'm not going to spoil it.
Well,
or
this
anything,
is why we're doing
but-
this at the end, so people can turn it off and then come back and listen to the whole thing again.
Well, like I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but basically, I'll just give a quick rundown of characters, right?
Yes.
Superman, best he's ever been in a film
Oh wow,
by far.
that's crazy.
He's powerful and it's
That's-
cool.
That's a
and
low
he's-
bar though.
I know, but
Oh, no,
he's
Christopher Reeve
more
was
like
good.
the Superman from the comics. Like he's positive and he's hopeful. His costume's a little bit of a
Was
brighter
this directed
blue.
by Zack Snyder?
Half of it was, and then was finished by Joss Whedon because Zack Snyder had some really unfortunate, sad family troubles, and yeah. Actually, can I complain about that for a split second? No, I shouldn't. No, I'm after bringing it up, aren't I?
Zack Snyder sucks.
Yeah,
as a
Zack
director,
Snyder
though.
sucks as a director, right? Batman vs Superman was awful, and Man of Steel wasn't very good either. But the problem was, I desperately wanted Zack Snyder to not direct Justice League, and then he directed most of Justice League. And then I checked my Twitter one day, and it was like, Zack Snyder steps down as director of Justice League, and I was like, yeah! And then I clicked into the article, and it
Yeah.
was like, because his daughter committed suicide, and I was like,
Yeah.
no!
You're
that's
like, now I feel
bad."
like an asshole, but
Yeah.
you know,
But it's not my fault he made bad movies before, and
his movies, I just watched Watchmen and it sucks.
I'm fine with Watchmen.
I don't like it at all. I think it's
Well,
dumb.
that's why we do this podcast here. 'Cause
Yeah.
we bounce off.
We're
each
gonna
other,
fight
differing
after this.
opinions.
9 rounds of bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah. That's what that's our 2-week plan, our 2-week arrangement. It's podcast and Fight Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we weren't. I'm
fuck,
gonna have to
no,
edit
yeah,
that out. I'm gonna have to edit that out.
That was one of the lamest jokes we've ever made.
Oh, let's just go. Goodbye. I'm leaving. I'm out.
He's getting up. Get back here. I'm not gonna go over there and stop the recording.
Okay, I guess.
So Superman.
You're on Superman.
Superman's good. I
Okay.
like Superman, right?
So he's back.
He's back, and
Spoiler
of course
alert.
he's got back. Come on.
It's the Justice League.
Yeah, no.
Fucking expect.
Spoiler alert for that, I guess. But come
Do
on,
they
we all
actually
knew he
do
was
that?
back.
Do they do a good job?
Actually, you
of-
know what? The Superman coming back thing, it was better than I thought it would be. I have a big problem with it, but if I remember in a later episode, I'll get back to that because it's a little spoiler.
Is he still Jesus, very subtly, but subtly spelt in giant flaming letters?
It wasn't so heavy-handed this time.
Good.
He was just quite powerful.
See, you had the disappointment as well. You were talking about your disappointment when you were like, yes, he's not directing it, and then you were like, oh, now I feel kind of like a dick.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that news. So I had was, yes, he's not directing it, and then, oh no, it's Joss Whedon though. Because I think like at a point Joss Whedon just gets too much, and you're like, stop quipping, just do something, and everyone is like out quip. Eventually, it's just gonna be they're gonna kill all the villains, and it's just gonna be the Avengers sitting around a table trying to out quip each other.
Yeah, well, that's something that I noticed very strongly in this film. Flash, very quippy. He's the quippy one. Like I for me personally, other people were laughing. Like 70% of the jokes didn't land.
Okay, so I have a prediction.
Hit me.
About Cyborg.
Okay.
The Flash is his Beast Boy in this movie.
No. There's a bit of a moment between them, I guess, where they're kind of friendly. Yeah, so maybe. But look, Cyborg was just dreary and dark and depressing, and I get that obviously this is his origin, and he's upset that he's a robot man.
He looks like a graphics card.
Yeah, the CGI is no good.
It's fucking terrible.
It's really bad. It's really bad, and it's really jarring. It takes you right out of it. Wonder Woman, quite good. They carried her on well from her own film, which was quite good. And then Batman, right? So,
I'm nodding and expecting people to know that I'm nodding.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, he's nodding. So Batman, pretty good. There's some Batman moments in it that I was like, yeah, that's quite Batman-y, and I quite enjoyed that. There's one thing I wanted to bring up about Batman, and this is the real reason I brought up Justice League. I wanted to complain about it for a little bit, but this is what I really wanted to complain about.
It was the nude scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just never needed to see how hairy Ben Affleck really is down there. You know?
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, sorry. No, right? Look. Okay, so in Batman vs Superman,
just hit the mic with my nose. I'm so sorry.
You fucking slow down on that rum and coke.
Oh no, I was just adjusting myself.
So in Batman vs Superman, this was a thing, right? And I understood it a little but I was still a little pissy about it. Basically, Batman doesn't drink. Okay? Batman does not drink. Because of course he doesn't drink. Because how would he be able to be Batman and also drink? Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
But in Batman versus Superman, he drinks. And I was like, okay, well, in The Dark Knight Returns, he drinks. So fair enough. Right? But in this, still drinking. Right? And you know why that annoys me? Do you know why that annoys me? Right?
Yes.
Because
Why?
when I was
Tell
younger,
me.
right? When I was like 16, when I was 16, I had like 3 friends who didn't drink. Right?
Yeah.
And one by one, they all dropped off.
Yeah.
Right? One by one, each of them dropped off. I was the last one standing, just me and Batman. No! Even Batman gave up on me. It's just me. It's just me, sitting alone, sober at a party, and Batman's in the corner off his fucking tits. What the... Like, I've been completely abandoned by my hero. Like, how can he drink and be Batman?
I'm imagining you like sitting at like a party with all of us, and you look into your bag and you've got a Batman comic book, and you're like, me and you, we're doing it together.
I've got my spuddy.
You've got your spuddy, yeah. You're like, doing it together, me and you.
I used to bring a little tiny Batman toy that I got in a Kinder Egg. I used to put him in my like shirt pocket.
Yes.
And I'd bring him out with me. Like I'd go out. Yeah, for nights out and stuff.
Because that, like, man, going out kind of sucks when you're drinking. When you're drinking, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, going out's shit, man. Going out's
when
no
you're sober,
crack.
it must be fucking awful.
Yeah, it's the worst. Because I wouldn't mind, except like you get there and it's okay. But a lot of the time I get there quite late.
Yeah.
And it's okay, and I'm having a good time with all my friends, and they're a little tipsy, but it's whatever. And then as the night progresses, not just my friends, I don't mind so much with my friends because I know them pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, but like the people around me that I don't know and don't give a shit about are getting progressively drunker as well.
Yes.
And suddenly pints are getting spilled on me, and I'm getting bumped, and everyone's cutting ahead of me in the queue, and all I want is a fucking pint glass of water, you know?
Well,
like,
because the one place, and I'm not going to say the name because obviously that would not be nice.
Because last week we had to do some editing.
Yeah,
There was something similar to that.
The one place that like our group usually goes to, although it's less so now. I feel like it's kind of dropped off a bit. But what happened was it was the kids one, not the kids one, but like the young people who were like just in college and whatever. And we've kind of like, I feel like I've grown out of that a bit because, you know, I've just fuck that. I'm like a crotchety old man now.
I feel like,
but what happens is they all go there, and so it's always packed with like young people who get really fucking drunk and just act annoying, and you have to wrestle your way to the bar every time.
And as a result of those young people, they're playing really shit music.
Yes,
to try and cater to the audience.
I went out with my girlfriend and her family not too long ago for dinner on a Sunday, and it was during the summer, so we had nothing on the Monday afterwards. So we went out drinking on a Monday. I think it was me, her mum, and her brother went out drinking.
Andrew?
Yeah, and we went to the Dinnery, and I had been to the Dinnery the week before on a Saturday, and you had to like wrestle through a sea of people to get anywhere. Yeah. And on Sunday it was like deserted.
Yeah,
we had the bar staff were coming to our table with drinks, and I was like, why don't we just go out on Sundays? And then I was like, oh, fuck Mondays, though.
Like the night before Halloween, like 2 years ago, was one of the best nights out I ever had. Yeah? Because nobody was out. Because Halloween just happened to fall on like a Saturday that week. Yeah. That year, rather. And like we went out, we got into like, there's a nightclub in Carlow called the Foundry. I don't usually ever go there.
I've never been.
But it was free.
Oh,
so
wow. That's,
we were like, yeah, we'll go in. Because it's usually like a tenner. So we went in. There was no one. There was us and like 2 other groups of friends on the dance floor.
That's great.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun.
It was so chilled out. It was just dancing with my friends, having a good time. You know, I feel like my entire life, like I'm a young man. I'm only 21. But I, for a very long time now, all I've wanted from a going out experience is to sit in like the Irishman's, you know, or like the Workman's, like a really quiet pub.
That's
like an old man pub.
I go down to the pub down here, and it's in a village, so it's
so
a very old man pub, and
like,
it's fucking savage. You sit down at the bar, and like maybe you'll chat to the barman for a bit. And have a few pints of Guinness because you're very Irish. And it's really I prefer that to like the wrestling through people and you know.
And You know what
All
annoys
that
me about it
shite.
more is that, like, I'm at a point now where, like, I'm quite busy. I don't see my friends as much as I used to. So when I do get to see them, I don't want to be in a room surrounded by, like,
you
50
don't wanna,
other
'cause
people
you,
that I
like,
can't move and I can't hear what my friends are saying,
Yeah,
so I can't
yeah.
talk to them or catch up with them. I'm with them, but I'm like looking at them and I'm like, yeah, there you are, buddy. What am I getting out of that?
This is just like it's just like why like I'm one of those people who's like, well, could we not just all drink at home
Yeah, right.
and then we can hear each other and we can still get like, we can still fucking go crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll be able to hear each other and you don't have to fucking walk for 6 hours in
Yeah.
some direction because everyone's like, let's go to this place.
Yeah, and then
And you
walk.
can't dissuade them because they're drunk.
Yeah, and you walk halfway to that place, and then someone's like, "Oh, hang on, actually, I just want to get a burger." And then
Yeah,
that person
yeah,
goes
yeah.
in to get a burger, but everyone else is standing outside waiting for them. And then after about 10 minutes, you're like, "What's taking so long with that burger?" And someone goes in to check, and they haven't ordered the burger yet because they ran into someone they know in the
Yeah,
line, and they're just
yeah.
been chatting to them. Yeah.
Oh, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So Batman is an alcoholic.
Yeah,
Ah.
right? What is that about? That's so I'm just annoyed. I'm just annoyed that he's still on the booze. Come on, Batfleck. I know you've had a hard time with these last couple movies, but just keep it to. Actually, that's a bit of a iffy joke. No, it's not. It's fine. Don't worry. Ben Affleck recently came out of rehab.
Oh, wow.
But he
yeah,
seems to be
okay.
doing much better.
That's good
There was
for him.
You know all those
I
pictures
think.
of Ben Affleck smoking sadly on street corners? Have you seen those?
No.
There's loads of them. There's so many pictures just taken by paparazzi, and it's like Ben Affleck looking real upset, having a sneaky smoke. And
It's probably because of that
recently-
Daredevil movie.
Yeah. Recently, there was a picture of him on a street corner taking a pull from a vape, and I was like, "You made it, Affleck. You're on the bounce back." He's on his
so
way.
who else is in the Justice League?
In the movie,
Yes.
J.K. Simmons is in it.
No, I mean like in the Justice League.
Oh, in the
team.
Justice League.
Yeah.
I mentioned them all. That was it.
That was it.
That was it. No.
Where's Martian Manhunter? Oh, then what's the point?
Presumably Mars.
What's the fucking
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's there's a lot of things. There's another person who's absent that I want to give out about,
Okay.
but it's a little bit of a spoiler, so I might leave it for another day.
Well, we're
circle
about to
around
finish
it.
up now
Yeah.
because we're just at about 21 minutes, and I think we've run out of stuff to talk
Oh,
about.
hang
really.
on.
Oh wait, okay.
We have a letter.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
We have a letter
We probably
because
should have
we're
done this
rich and
earlier.
famous podcasters,
Yeah.
and people want to hear from us. They want to hear our opinions on their stupid shit, and it doesn't matter that they're close personal friends of ours. And I'm stalling because
because my internet is disconnected.
I noticed that a while ago, and I didn't. Say
Yeah,
anything.
we probably should have fixed that before we went to look for the email. I'm so sorry it took us this long to get to the email. I was laughing at Dara too hard and I forgot. And now I'm logged in on the wrong
laughing
Twitter
at Dara's miserable.
And if you
life.
want to send an email, Dara,
I do.
if you want to send an email, our Gmail is lost in translation. Oh no, that's not it. It's translationlostpod@gmail.com, and that'll be in the description as well. So this email comes in from Ironic Snap, a friend of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're both good friends with him. He has a YouTube channel that's really good.
Yes.
He did a video.
Posts very, very funny Facebook statuses.
He does. Oh, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. But
Big
he
fan.
did a video about Static Shock a while back,
Oh,
and it's fucking great.
That's
I love
great.
that show.
yeah,
So-
that was a great show.
I suppose I'll read it then.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna hold my mic so I can.
Oh, by the way,
hear it better.
I feel like Brian is technically the host, and neither of us have ever said it, but Brian's the
yeah.
host.
I was a power play on my part. I alphaed my way to the host. So, Ironic Snap says, Hiya, just wanted to drop a quick email to say you're a great bunch of lads, and the podcast is great, and also to take advantage of the statistical likelihood that this will be read aloud, because I crave attention, and I want you to hear you say the word Bepis? Bepsis.
Well, your wish is our command.
Bepis.
Yeah, then you just heard us say it in a whole variety of ways.
Yeah. Keep up the good work. Your pal, Barry.
Don't fucking tell us what to do, Barry. we will rock it straight downhill from here.
Actually, funny thing is that when we, probably a couple of hours after I released the very first episode, I immediately got a message from Barry
Oh, really?
Like being like, here's.
is that him?
That could be.
Is that him?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I didn't put my phone on silent.
Oh, is it him? Is it him?
It is. Is it him?
Is it him?
Is it? No, it's the group chat.
Stupid fucking group chat.
It's Austin. It's Austin.
Yeah, Austin.
You know Austin.
You guys know Austin.
You know Austin. He's a big melty boy.
Austin. He was the last of my friends to fucking start drinking.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
And now he drinks the heaviest.
Oh man, he's gone hard. Like,
but he also has a small penis.
He does also have a small penis.
That's a little nod to a thing called the small penis defense. If you're gonna make fun of someone, just say they have a small penis, because no one's gonna come forward and say that's me with the small penis. Yeah.
No.
So.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Barry. We really appreciate the message and your continued support of our podcast. It's been great.
Owen from Canada, write us an email next week.
Owen, you know me. I know you.
Yeah, you guys
write
are
me
good
an email
friends.
specifically.
Yeah.
Specifically addressed to me.
Make it personal.
Make it personal.
Yeah.
Very personal.
Yeah.
Wait, I've met Owen, have I?
You've not met Owen.
I've not met Owen. Okay.
Right.
So.
Okay, so what did we said the thing. What's the Twitter? What's the Twitter handle? TLostPod, is it? At TLostPod?
Oh my god, we should know this.
I think I do know this.
I should know my own.
I think I do know this.
My Twitter is at Postboy, when the O's are zeros, and the name is I fucking love Encino Man, because I got drunk and I was like, Encino Man is a fucking great movie. Someone where Brendan Fraser is a caveman.
My Twitter is at Dara Eaton, but you don't really need to know that.
Yeah, you do. Everyone go follow Dara, so he's forced to tweet. So we have a notification.
Did you follow the Weekly Planet?
Yeah, I followed your podcast and the podcast that I was like, I listened to this too. So we are at TLostPod on Twitter, and it's TL Podcast is the name part.
The
bold part.
So at TLostPod.
And we are the Translation Lost Podcast on Facebook.
Yes. I think but it's not the translate. It's literally just
Translation Lost Podcast. And you know, if you listen to this and you thought it was good and you got this far, maybe give us a follow, because it does help out.
Yeah, tell a friend.
Tell a friend too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Tell like multiple friends and tell them to make multiple accounts.
Oh yeah, because we were discussing this in the car.
You know,
it sounds
if
like a great idea.
view bought us, then we're not dickheads.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
Yeah, because we were talking about how we couldn't really do it, but I feel like this is a good loophole.
Now, if we do get view-botted, people are going to think we did it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
oops.
Yeah.
So,
what a perfect cover.
Translation lost. Shut the fuck up, Facebook. Shut up,
This
Facebook.
is why I have the group chat muted.
So
it doesn't interfere with my precious podcasting
this
time.
might be the longest podcast we've done.
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty good.
It is.
Or it might be awful.
We almost made it to 1.5. Oh, it's definitely awful.
Yeah.
I think we talked about the Celtic Tiger in there.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, for quite a while. We talked about the juniors here for ages.
Yeah, it's super hard to end a podcast.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Okay.
At TLostPod on Twitter.
Yeah.
TranslationLostPod at gmail.com. Translation Lost Podcast on Facebook. Thank you very much, Dara.
What's our catchphrase? Hang on, I know it. Hang on. Hi, we're Translation Lost. We'll be better next week.
Yes, it'll get better next week. Goodbye.